Hey guys, what's up? Pizza Loving Nerd here. Today we're going to be doing a video on Fair OS Next. So, generic intro out of the way, let's get into the video. So, I actually told Farron that I'd do a video on Fair OS Next release candidate, and I never did. And then I told him that I'd do a video when Fair OS Next released as regular Fair OS, and then I downloaded the ISO, and then a bunch of things got in the way and I never made this video. So, I'm finally going to make this video. Let's get into it. So, when you first log into Fair OS, this is what it looks like. Well, it's a black screen right now. This obviously isn't what it looks like until it's done loading. So once it's done loading... So anyways, we got this thing right here. We hit start. I am in a VirtualBox, but I already installed Spice Tools because I'm in GNOME boxes. Now you can install restricted codecs, so that's cool if you want them. Now, there's several different layouts. We have Fair OS's default, which is the default. It's pretty similar to Windows. We have simple menu here. It's a nice menu. I like this a lot. However, for some reason, Farron decided that he should put the clock at the top instead of on the panel. But the thing is, the reason I want the clock on the panel is this clock auto-hides, which means I never know what time it is, which means that if I'm playing a video game or something, or if I'm doing work, I check the time, all of a sudden it's 2 hours later than I thought it was going to be. So that's why I don't like it when clocks auto-hide. So I feel like the clock and notifications should have been on the same panel as the bottom, but whatever. We also have a tablet mode. Now, I don't really understand this mode because we look at it. I've looked at all of these modes already. Basically the same layout, except the clock is on the bottom, and we have an on-screen keyboard and minimize Windows buttons, and that's it. Then we have the familiar layout. This is a layout that is supposed to look like Windows 10, and it looks really good. Now, one thing I would change is the menu here is a little bit smaller in Windows 10, like with all the lists of things. But other than that, this does a good job pretending to be Windows 10. Also, I don't really like how the tiles are transparent, but whatever. So this is a pretty good Windows 10 layout. Now, if we go to the Redmond layout, I'm on this one because, as you can see, it looks like a Windows XP layout, but then if you go to the menu, it has like a Windows 95-like menu. It's fine because there's a search, but still, I feel like a lot of users might get frightened by an old school menu, so I think they should use the regular application launcher instead. Now, I will admit this application launcher is meh. It's not the best start menu, but it's certainly a better menu for someone who is coming from Windows XP than that other menu is. And same with the familiar layout. For those who want a more Windows 7 layout, you have to switch the menu inside of the layout in order to get a more Windows 7-like layout instead of Windows 10. So you just right-click, show alternatives, and then choose Application Launcher, and you get a more Windows 7-like menu. I do think that the familiar layout should have this Present Windows button, similar to Windows 10, where it gives you a GNOME-like overview of all your windows. I feel like the Windows 10 layout should have this button right here. And I also think Excalibur should be a menu choice for a more Windows 7-like menu layout, and then kick off. Other than those two things though, the familiar and Redmond layouts are okay, they're decent. Now let's look at the Corpatino layout. It does move the buttons to the left instead of the right, which is okay, I guess. Finally, we have the Ubuntu Unity layout. Now, when I first opened it up, there's two menus, so this is probably a bug. This probably isn't supposed to happen, so keep that in mind, but this is a pretty similar layout to Unity. Anyways, if we open this, there's a full screen menu. Now, I do remember Unity having an option for full screen, but you can also minimize it to something like this. Now, I don't really like how this menu goes over the panels. I don't really like that. I prefer this menu over this menu right here. So I feel like simple menu should be used instead of the full screen dashboard. And I don't know why it's showing me two menus. Anyways, I'm gonna go back to FairenOS's default and then we're gonna click next. Now, this is cool. From here we have a dark theme and accent colors. So the default one has a dark panel and then light window borders. The light theme has a light panel, and the dark theme makes everything dark. Now, this is personally my favorite because FairenOS has a pretty nice looking dark theme. We also have support for accent colors. So by default we have blue, like if I open Nemo right here we have blue. I accidentally selected light. If I want to, I could switch it to like orange or something. Now that I've selected orange, if I open something like system settings, now the accent color is orange instead of blue. So I like this accent color thing. Now we're all done. So this is the welcome screen for FairenOS. It's pretty nice looking. I think this is a fork of Budgie Welcome, so I don't really like how this is a light welcome screen on the dark theme, but other than that, it's okay. Now, one thing I love about this OS, even though it's Plasma based, it includes a lot of GDK apps. So for the file manager, instead of Dolphin, we actually have Nemo right here. And instead of like Discover or something, we have the great, awesome Linux Mint Software Center. That is if it wants to load. Here we go. This is the Linux Mint Software Center, which is my personal favorite software center. As you can see, there's significant mix of Qt and GDK apps. So like files is Nemo, which is GDK, and we have maps right here. But then if we head over in the system, we have I think this is the driver manager. I don't know what this is, but console's Qt. But then the store and the Synaptic Package Manager are GDK, and Timeshift is GDK. There's just an interesting blend between the GDK and Qt apps here. Now, let's go into the web browser switcher. This is they took this from Zorin OS and modified it a little bit to make it better. So this is the web browser manager. We have support for Firefox, Chrome, GNOME Web, Vivaldi, Chromium, Opera, Brave, and no one cares about Vulkan. Okay, sorry, Vulkan, I'm being cruel. Anyways, so now if I want GNOME Web for some reason on KDE, I can click on install, enter in my password, and then once it's done installing, then I have GNOME Web on here. Oh, frick. Now, one interesting thing is how this handles client-side decorations. So this is GNOME Maps, and normally you would have client-side decorations on here where your window controls would be part of the program. But with this, I think it uses GDK mushrooms or something because, as you can see here, the client-side decorations are non-existent. So that's pretty nice. That's definitely something you have to do on KDE if you want to use a GNOME app. But I personally like CSDs if it's on GNOME, Budgie, or Cinnamon, but if it's on any other desktop, I don't like them very much. Anyways, pretty cool. Now, let's get into some things I don't really like about this OS. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more work. I wouldn't really recommend this yet. I feel like 2 releases from now this might be good, but this still feels experimental. And, so, like, for example, if you open an application, look at the loading animation. It's really fast. 2, in some places, the right-click menus are not transparent, like in Vivaldi, for example. In other places, they are transparent. So little things like that take away some of the polish factor from the new FairenOS. One thing I do like, though, is the KDE panels are actually Latte Dock, and that's how they get transparency on them. Still, I think for now, I'd recommend FairenOS Classic over this, compared to FairenOS Next, because so far this doesn't have the same polish that that FairenOS Classic had. There's still some things that need to be worked on. For example, if you want to switch layouts and system settings, you have to head over to System Settings, then Theme. As you can see, Breeze and Breeze Dark are still here in the layouts, right? You can choose. And if you choose layout, like if you would decide you want to change your layout to like Ubuntu Unity, for example, you actually lose your theme configuration. And so I think if Fairen found a way to fix that, that would be awesome. Still getting that bug with 2 menus. Another thing is the Farron theme colorizer. It looks way better in the setup screen for Farron than it does in the actual colorizer, which interests me. So, for example, if you want to create a new theme colorization, here's all the colors here. But this feels more like a tool that would come with like MX Linux or something than it does something that would come with a distro focused on user experience. And my cat is meowing at me. So yeah, you select your color, then you have select your light or dark theme, and then it will make a theme. Now this is pretty cool that you could just whip up a theme like this, but still, this doesn't feel very user-friendly because it's just a bunch of dialogues. So let's apply it and see, this looks pretty good. And to make it better, GDK stuff and Qt themes obey the theme. So this is a cool addition, but I don't know. I feel like that dialogue from earlier in the video, I'll put what I'm talking about on like in a clip right here. That thing where you selected the theme when you first booted into Farron, that's more user-friendly, and I feel like that there should just be an application called Farron Customizer or something that just has that step by step, and then they could remove the colorizer and add that built in. The colorizer is more customizable, but it's very less user-friendly, so that's why I feel like that they should have used that welcome screen, welcome dialogue, whatever, that runs on first boot. That should be an application you could choose. Keep the theme colorizer, but also have like a Farron customizer tool that opens that up and lets you configure everything, just like when you boot. So Farron OS is pretty good, but I wouldn't recommend it yet. When he irons out some more of the bugs and stuff inside of Plasma, I'd recommend this, but for now, I'd say go with Farron OS Classic. I'm not saying this is bad, I'm just saying this is still in its development stages, I feel like. I feel like it got a little bit rushed, and I feel like it needs a little bit more polish, and then it could be a great distro. Anyways, the Farron OS developer is going to kill me now, so yay. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, feel free to like this video and subscribe, hit the bell icon, all that. Or consider donating on Patreon, and thank you to my Patreon supporter, Michelle Vantino, for being a Patreon supporter. That's pretty cool of you. Bye-bye.